Now the latest from ITV News Meridian with Sangeeta Barbara and Fred Dinich.
Good evening and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines here in the south. 30 hours free childcare for working parents in Portsmouth. It's a new pilot, but will nurseries be paying the price?
After the floods, experts say man-made climate change is to blame. Tonight we return to the families 2 years on.
Seconds from impact, bad driving, reckless motorists, unbelievable near misses, all caught on dashboard camera.
And lessons from a spaceman. Astronaut Tim Peake teaches a cosmic classroom here on Earth. Good evening. It's come a year early, but parents in our region have welcomed plans to double the amount of free childcare they can receive if they work.
Portsmouth's been selected as one of 12 places to introduce extra childcare to encourage parents back to work.
Well, at the moment, if you're both employed and your household income is below £100,000, or if you're a lone parent, then you qualify for 15 hours free childcare if your child is aged 3 or 4 years old.
But from September, if you fulfil the same criteria, you will be entitled to 30 hours a week free childcare if you live in the Portsmouth area.
But while parents are breathing a sigh of relief, the nurseries say the scheme must be better subsidised if it's to benefit everyone. With more, here's Andrew Pate.
These youngsters can have double the fun when the new scheme's introduced in Portsmouth in September. And if all goes well, the rest of the country will follow a year later.
I'm actually going back to university in September, so for me my day-to-day routine is going to change. It allows me to venture out rather than be at home sitting around just being mum. I can actually go out and pursue my own kind of career path. You know, in 30 hours I can do a lot in 30 hours.
This scheme is for 3 and 4-year-olds. At the moment there's 15 hours of free childcare. That's going up to 30 hours a week, as long as you earn less than £100,000 a year. One of Portsmouth's MPs says it's great news for the city and those keen to get their career back on track.
We've found that people find it very difficult to get back into work once they've taken maternity leave off. So it's going to help that people can put their children into care, and which will be fantastic when they can get back to work.
This extra 15 hours of free childcare, though, is only available to those who work for at least 16 hours.
The very families who would benefit most from this extra 15 hours of free childcare, the very low earners who are trying to make ends meet, will actually miss out on this offer from the government.
In the past, some nurseries have complained the government subsidies have left them out of pocket. But ministers have told us today they are looking to make sure the extra money coming in now will be enough. At Top Tots in Portsmouth, staff say this extra free childcare will help both parents and youngsters.
We've sort of had parents in the past that have had to sort of cut down their days because of affording childcare, working just to pay childcare and that sort of stuff, so it will be a massive benefit to those families.
The interaction with the other children, the positive partnership relationships for us, for the parents to sort of see that bond with their parents, making attachments with other people.
With some parents in Portsmouth paying childcare costs of over £50 a day, it's hoped this new initiative will help old and young alike. Andrew Pate, ITV News.
Well, plenty of your views on our Facebook page today. Claire Murray says, my childcare costs were huge when my son was little. The government helped with tax credits, or there would have been no way I could have gone to work.
Chrissy Mills says, great, I work just to pay for childcare as most of my wages goes towards this.
Diane Green says, is this not rather expensive in a time of austerity? And who looks after the children when they're ill?
And Brian Siddon says, who pays the nurseries to open extra hours? Who pays for extra qualified staff? Good points. Thank you for all of your views.
And remember, you can find out more about that free childcare scheme online. Just head to itv.com/Meridian for all of our news, sport and weather.
In other news, the jury in the Georgina Edmonds murder trial have visited the cottage at Brambridge near Winchester where she was killed and the cash point where her card was used that night. The court had been shown images of a man trying to use the card at the Tesco Express store on Twyford Road on the night of January the 11th, 2008. The prosecution claimed the man in the fluorescent jacket is Matthew Hamlin. The 36-year-old from Bishopstoke denies murder. The trial continues.
Police have been given extra time to question a man over a number of sex attacks in Southampton. In the past fortnight, there have been 12 assaults in Millbrook, Lord's Hill and the city centre by a man riding a bike. A 25-year-old was arrested following the release of CCTV images.
Police investigating the Shoreham airshow tragedy in which a Hawker Hunter jet crashed onto the A27, killing 11 people, have confirmed they're investigating another incident involving the same pilot.
Andy Hill was flying the plane at the Sussex Airshow in August last year when it crashed. He was interviewed under caution by Sussex Police as part of their investigations.
But it emerged this afternoon that a flight he undertook elsewhere is also being investigated. For the latest, over now to Louise Lewis. What do we know, Louise?
Well, Fred, this has come out today following an ITV News investigation. Less than a year before Shoreham, it transpires the same pilot, Mr Hill, was flying a plane at the Southport Airshow in 2014 in Lancashire. The line of inquiry being followed by police is that during a flight display, that plane flew before the designated safe altitude and over the crowd line. One eyewitness told us what they saw.
I remember sort of hearing the noise of it being very loud and looking up and seeing that the jet had come down in a dive, which looked okay, but then at the bottom of the dive it seemed to loop and then face the wrong way and head very low and almost straight in front, just above, I would say like a burger stall, almost just above the rooftop of that stall, coming over quite low. So it looked to me as if the plane was about to or could have crashed.
Well, of course, he did go on to fly at Shoreham, where 11 men were killed, all local to the area. Some were travelling on the A27, some were plane spotters. A spokesman for the Southport Airshow confirmed the incident had taken place and that Mr Hill was debriefed initially on the telephone and later in person and agreed to amend his display the following day. The spokesman added that no other reporting action was taken, nor was any other action officially required. A Civil Aviation Authority spokesman said, "We are aware of an incident that took place at the Southport Airshow, following which the CAA took appropriate action in conjunction with the show's organisers." ITV News has approached Mr Hill for a comment regarding the Southport incident, but has not received a reply.
Very much indeed.
Man-made climate change did contribute to the cause of the severe winter storms and flooding of 2013 to 2014, according to new research published by Oxford University.
Yes, scientists say data has shown that the extreme rainfall and almost continuous series of storms which battered the south were more likely to have occurred in a changing climate.
Well, 2 years on, our reporter Martin Dowse returned to the mobile home park at Christchurch in Dorset, which suffered serious flooding that winter, to see how the residents recovered from it and what has changed for them.
As you can see,
Site manager Ken showed me how a £115,000 flood grant from the government helped them to raise the height of 36 homes at the Iford Bridge Home Park by around a foot. This was the park in January 2014, flooded time and again after torrential rain upstream swelled the River Stour, which met the incoming tide to create a perfect nightmare. 21 homes were flooded, some residents lost pretty much everything. The whole of the central ground of the park has also been raised, allowing these brand new homes to be built and sold, new residents safe in the knowledge that they should not flood. Emergency procedures have been updated too. They've made themselves better prepared for another catastrophe.
we don't have to wait for the warning from the Environment Agency. If we think that river is coming over, we can tell people to get their cars off the site and if it does then start to ebb over, we can, if we wish to, evacuate the park.
We've approached all the residents on the park and we've got a 100% turnout for being registered with Floodline. That means we shall all get a telephone call 2 hours previously to warn us when there's going to be a flood alert initially, then a flood warning, and then a severe flooding.
Researchers at Oxford University gathered data and ran computer simulations on what the weather would have been like in 2013 and 14 with and without human influence. They concluded that human activity, our greenhouse emissions, increased the chances of a severe weather occurrence by 43%. In other words, we brought it on ourselves. At Iford Bridge, the whys and the wherefores are interesting, though of limited practical use. The river will flood their park again, and all they can be is better prepared. 2014 was a watershed for them here. They learned a lot, and they'll be ready for the floodwater next time it comes. And they know it will.
It's always going to be the case that if this global warming is going to cause more rain across the country, there are going to be periods when we're going to get the backlash of it because it's coming from upstream. So we watch this river like there's no tomorrow. I've got my 4 deputies that around the park which keep an eye on it. We think we're pretty safe.
Martin Dowse, ITV News, Bournemouth.
A former council leader who is convicted of failing to declare financial interest in a housing company has been re-elected as leader of East Dorset District Council. Councillor Spencer Flower will take over from Ian Monks. He resigned following an email row with Christchurch MP Chris Chope.
Meanwhile, homeowners in Bournemouth could face a rise of 4% in their council tax bills if proposals go ahead. The rise includes the new 2% adult social care precept, which George Osborne approved in the autumn statement. The increase means residents could pay between £40 and £119 extra.
You're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Coming up, the miraculous escapes you've been filming on our roads, how onboard cameras are revealing the hidden horrors on our highways.
And how's this for a school project? Students catch up with Major Tim Peake on the International Space Station.
And you can keep up to date with all of our headlines on your computer or smartphone. Just head to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095 or get in touch via Facebook or send us a tweet at ITV Meridian.
A dog owner is warning people to be vigilant against a disease which can kill their pets.
Yes, what causes Alabama rot is still not fully understood by vets, but it can have a devastating effect, as Jessica Worthington discovered when one of her dogs died from the condition. Ken Goodwin has more.
Jessica Worthington used to love taking her 2 spaniels for walks in the woods, but not anymore.
I noticed she was licking her back leg, and that's when I noticed the first sign of the lesion.
Both dogs contracted a disease which is slowly spreading across the country, Alabama rot. One of them did not recover. Jessica is a veterinary nurse, so she spotted the symptoms of Alabama rot immediately.
I think because this has affected me personally, I feel really strongly about finding out more about the disease and hopefully stopping other dog owners feeling the way I do now.
Deaths from Alabama rot have been reported as far apart as Cornwall and North Yorkshire. Confirmed cases between November 2014 and May 2015 included Lambourne in Berkshire and Salisbury. And more recently, there's now a small cluster of cases in the Marlborough and Swindon areas.
It's a disease that we've known about since the 1980s. It was first identified in greyhounds in the USA. And dogs with the disease typically present with a skin lesion, and then over the subsequent days they go on and develop kidney failure. So that's what Alabama rot is in terms of what it does to the dogs. So the first thing that you'll typically see is a skin lesion below the elbow, below the knee, and it's a patch that's red, and often it's hairless. The difficulty is that skin disease is very common in dogs, so trying to differentiate a skin lesion as a result of Alabama rot from a skin lesion due to something else is very difficult.
Jessica is just thankful that at least one of her dogs managed to survive the condition.
What was it like losing Pippa?
Horrific. She's my little baby. I miss her terribly. It's a big hole in my life and Molly's life, and she's irreplaceable.
Ken Goodwin, ITV News.
In other news, CCTV's been released of two men police want to speak to after a pensioner had her debit card stolen in Salisbury. Later that day, two men bought a television from Argos in Fisherton Street using the victim's debit card.
More people are travelling by ferry from Portsmouth because of ongoing problems in Calais and Kent. Almost 3 million people used the port last year and the number of cars rose by nearly 6%.
Fareham Community Hospital has been awarded dementia-friendly status. The site has made changes to its buildings and facilities so it's easier to use and navigate for dementia patients. Staff and volunteers have also received specialist training.
The ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30 with all the details. Mary Nightingale.
Europe's blueprint for Britain to stay in the EU that could lead to a referendum in June. The Prime Minister says it contains substantial reforms on benefits and sovereignty. Anti-EU campaigners claim it doesn't come close to the reforms promised. We'll have the latest in the race for the White House after Donald Trump is toppled by Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton only just overcomes her Democrat rival. And the dad posing in his pants to persuade men to check for prostate cancer. We'll do John Marcos to me for that and more at 6:30.
Crashes, near misses, bad driving. We've all seen it on our roads, but more and more of us are now able to watch it back on film.
There's been a huge increase in the number of drivers, cyclists and motorcyclists using onboard cameras to record their journeys right across our region.
And Emma Wilkinson has been looking at just some of the miraculous escapes and near misses caught on camera.
Our roads are busier than ever. There are tens of thousands of accidents every year and more are being caught on camera. Near misses, bizarre behaviour and sometimes dangerous driving. When crashes happen, onboard cameras can give an insight into what went wrong. Colin Kay was driving with his wife when up ahead he saw a car turning right.
She hit the front offside of my car, flew past my window and ended up facing the same way as me, probably 3 or 4 yards behind the car.
Remarkably, no one was seriously hurt and no one was prosecuted. But onboard cameras are increasingly being used as evidence. 2 separate drivers filmed this car driving the wrong way down the A23 towards Brighton. Paul managed to move out of the way just in time.
If I'd been fiddling with the sat-nav or with the radio at the time and just distracted just for a few fractions of a second, then I wouldn't have seen it coming.
Police later intercepted the car. The driver was a 73-year-old man who'd taken a wrong turn. He was referred to the DVLA where his licence was put under review. Statistically, motorways are some of the safest roads in the country, but when things go wrong, they do so in a split second, as lorry driver Steve well knows.
It was so surreal, it just happened so quick. Oh no.
The car hit a puddle and aquaplaned across the motorway. The driver escaped largely unscathed.
Your stomach just hits the floor. And knowing that I was going to be the one that, when I clambered through the bushes into the field, and it was almost such a relief when I just seen him sitting there. I mean, there weren't many straight panels on the car.
With videos like these being used as evidence by police and some insurance companies, Dashcam sales have skyrocketed. And they're revealing life on the road like never before. Emma Wilkinson, ITV News.
And you can see many more remarkable stories in Car Crash Britain, caught on camera, which starts tonight at 9 here on ITV.
Extraordinary. Some sports headlines now, and Oxford United are hoping a near sellout crowd at the Kassam Stadium tonight can spur the team onto a place in the final of the Johnstone's Paint Trophy. League 2, Oxford faced League 1 Millwall in tonight's Southern Area final second leg. Michael Appleton's team won the first leg 2-0.
I think the biggest thing and the message, certainly from me and the rest of the staff, is to do what we have done all season and try and attack and win games. We're at home, should be a fantastic following again. And, you know, we'll go into the game tomorrow night just trying to win that game and letting the game take care of itself.
Good luck to them. All our other teams are away tonight. Childhood teammates Theo Walcott and Charlie Austin, as seen at their school in Newbury, face each other in the Premier League as Southampton face Arsenal at the Emirates. Bournemouth hope to continue distancing themselves from the relegation zone as they take on Crystal Palace. In the Championship, Reading face Ipswich. League One, Swindon travel to Port Vale. In League Two, Portsmouth are at Morecambe.
British astronaut Tim Peake spoke to a group of specially selected school children today as he led a lesson in the cosmic classroom.
Yes, 300 pupils, including those from the Isle of Wight, were at a special event that saw a live link-up between the International Space Station and themselves. Matt Price has our report.
Welcome on board the International Space Station to you and to everybody who's following the cosmic classroom on the internet.
200 miles above Earth and moving at 5 miles per second, but Major Tim Peake still made time for a video call home. Hundreds of children here, many with dreams of one day becoming an astronaut themselves, putting their questions to their real-life hero.
My question was, what is your favourite science experiment on board the ISS? I asked this question because I want to know more about science and because we like science at school.
Mind-blowing. I mean, not every day you see a space astronaut on a video chat.
Well, I've learned about water, that it floats, and I thought it was pretty cool how he did those tricks with the water.
It was back in December when Major Peake joined the crew working in the International Space Station.
And liftoff. Liftoff of Tim Koper, Yuri Malenchenko and Timothy Peake on their way to the International Space Station.
This, the first day of his 6-month mission, a powerful rocket launch in Kazakhstan which took him into space.
Tim, it's really cool seeing that Union Jack go outside.
And then only a few weeks ago he made history by becoming the first Briton to take part in a spacewalk.
Privilege. I think it went phenomenally well. It was brilliant to be able to see Tim loud and clear in space, and he'd come up with some brilliant ideas. He thought of a few things yesterday to put in that we hadn't asked him to do, so that was especially exciting.
Today's been a huge technical test for the space agency. Several satellites helped this Q&A go to plan. Major Tim has no doubt provided huge inspiration for these school children, many now with hopes and ambitions of following in his footsteps. Matt Price, ITV News.
Oh, brilliant. Well, from a spaceman to a space cadet now.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, I was thinking, shall I not?
I don't come here to be insulted, you know. If you want to see Tim,
where do you normally go?
You can tonight, 7:38. Look up in the sky in the southwesterly direction, and you might just see a little light dot flying through the sky out of the space station. Should be. Yeah, we should do all right for clear skies at some parts of the night. So fingers crossed it'll all be good. But Tim has been tweeting some pictures of what space looks like from up there. Okay. It's going to be hard to beat, but have a look at this lovely first one here. So you recognise that, Fred? That's the gateway to the Mediterranean. So I'm assuming that's Spain at the top there, and at the bottom that's North Africa. Isn't it lovely? Yes. And here's one that shows the whole of the UK.
That's us.
Pretty. But look down bottom right. Look, he clearly. Cornwall, they turn their lights off of a night time. It's suddenly very dark down there. And this is lovely midnight over London on Saturday. I'm thinking he took that picture and the first thing he thought was, did I set the tape for EastEnders? But equally as nice, the night sky from the Earth. This is a lovely photo of the starry night over Calshot Castle that Chris Nesbitt was there at the early hours of this very morning when the clouds split. And Kerry Mellor has been in Hampshire taking a few pictures. That's the moon at the top there, all lovely and bright.
Lovely.
Some lovely sky reflections there. But a bit of clear sky tonight, so you never know, you might get a lovely picture.
Clear sky tonight. Let's get the full forecast now. Here he is. Glad he's back. Simon Parkin.
That's us driving on, us driving off in France, and us outside a chateau.
Driving to Europe. Eurotunnel Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, now we said today would start badly but pick up, and certainly by 12:30 it was looking very lovely in Swanage. Of course, as we head into the overnight period, we get another band of cloud and showers. This showery rain is going to work its way southeastwards through the first part of the night, and as it passes through, very cold behind. So it's likely that where the showers have been, there could be perhaps a risk of ice. Also, temperatures down to around 2 or 3 degrees, so there will be a widespread frost as well. But by tomorrow morning, we'll see the next lot of clouds start to push down. So if you're up first thing, you'll get a bit of brightness, particularly the further south and east you are, but then the cloud will spill in and then there'll be more showery rain. Mostly light and patchy, perhaps an odd moderate burst in there too, but again it will clear, and the best part of the day will once again be in the afternoon when we'll get some decent sunshine on the go. Temperatures 7-8 degrees, so a bit below where we should be for this time of year, but less wind around, so it shouldn't feel quite so cold. As for your high tide times, you can see Poole Harbour just before 2 in the morning, 25 past 2 in the afternoon, then some more rain to come through overnight. By Thursday we are dry but mostly cloudy.
Eurotunnel Le Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
In just a moment we have the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale and Mark Austin.
I shall have our late news, so do join me if you can. But for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you very much indeed for watching. Look out for the International Space Station. From us all, take care. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.